Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live. It's Monday, April 7th, 6 o'clock in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast in the US. It's time for the weekly roundup of big stage productions, all the orchestral and operatic works live streaming that we can find for you this week. And there'd also be ballet and theater if we could find any of it, but we didn't have any this week. But never fear, coming up in just a couple of months' time will be the CBU enormous theater festival, and they live stream all sorts of performing arts, including theater and dance and music as well. This week we have a great lineup for you. You can see from the picture there, we have all sorts of music. We have operas from Rimini and Parma down in Italy. We have conductors playing musical chairs, exchanging podiums between Stockholm and Finland, between Detroit and Berlin. We've got rising star soloists and veterans, and we've got world premieres of various works and new composers for you to discover, both old and new composers for you to discover. So let's get right to it. Now, before I get started, let me remind you, as usual, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to us by clicking on the subscribe button. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn, we're happy that so many of you like the videos. We'd be even happier if you like us. That is, subscribe and or follow us on those platforms as well. And having said that, now let us get down to the business of, well, entertainment, of non-business. And what do we have up for you first? Well, also one other thing I want to mention. I want to give a shout out to Claudia Ochoa Cruz and to her blog spot, which is called myloveformusicschedule.blogspot.com, where you can find calendars where you can click on any day of the week and find information about what's playing that day. We don't have that kind of a setup here yet, but you can find it. So if on Wednesday you're just wondering, well, what's up, and you don't want to go digging through everything I've given you, you can just go to her blog spot, click on Wednesday, April 9th, and you'll get whatever we were able to find that is live streaming that day. So let's start out with this week's first offering, which actually is on Wednesday, and it involves a French conductor and a French soloist playing on British soil. International French conductor Alexander Bloch leads the Bournemouth Symphony through pictorial works by Debussy, Mussorgsky, of course, and Berlioz's Herald in Italy Symphony with violist Lise Berthaud, also French, Wednesday, April 9th at 8:30 PM CET. That's Central European time. The Bournemouth Symphony live streams, unfortunately, are not free of charge. They do charge you €10 for a ticket to a single one. I think you can get longer subscriptions, which may bring the cost of the individual concerts down. But it's £10 as it is now. They'll be doing Debussy's prelude to the Prélude à l'après-midi d'une faune, or Dan Faune, which is the prelude to the afternoon of a faun. Right? And then they'll do Berlioz's Herald in Italy, which is a 4-movement symphony, but there's a viola part in it, which will be played by Lise Berthaud. And then they'll do Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition, as arranged for orchestra by Maurice Ravel, another Frenchman. So it's a very French evening on Wednesday in Bournemouth, England. If that sort of thing appeals to you, well, I would encourage you to enjoy it. And once again, I have forgotten to put up for you the picture that we want, and we're also having a little bit of technical difficulties with the stream again, and I don't know why this is happening. So I'm not sure if you are receiving this. What I'm showing is there now. My photo is back, which is good to know. And let me show you a photo of Lise Berthaud and Alexandre Bloch. Both of them fairly young, both of them fairly intense, rising in their careers, and it'll make for I think it'll make for a good concert. Of course, you never know. Next up, we come up with one of the first of these musical chairs that are going on between different conductors on different podiums. Starting out with the Royal Stockholm Phil. Thursday, April 10th, while Stockholm Phil's artistic director Ryan Bancroft is in Finland, Johannes Gustafsson leads the orchestra in a most Swedish program, Stenhammar's Second Symphony and Mats Gothe's new cello concerto. That's at 7 p.m. European time. The photo that I'm showing you there is a photo of the two composers who are featured in this concert, the Swedish ones. Anyway, Elfrida Andrea and Mats Larsson Gothe. Now, the Gothe is a Swedish composer who has received a lot of attention and had success in Sweden with his opera Löftet, which means the promise, at the Royal Swedish Opera a few years ago. In 2016, the Stockholm Royal Phil, they have a way of doing annual composers weekends. And in 2016, he was featured in the annual composer weekend at the Concert House here in Stockholm. The cellist who is playing Gothe's new piece, which this is the world premiere of it, which was commissioned by the Royal Stockholm Phil, is Thorleif Thedéen, and he's internationally recognized. Gothe had this to say: the cello concerto for Thorleif captures everything that a cello can convey: longing, dreams, pain, and melancholy, but also anger and resignation. I have used the full range of expression. Apparently, the piece was written for Thorleif to play. Now, before they do the cello concerto, they're going to do an overture by Elfrida Andrea, and she was a cathedral organist at the turn of the 20th century, that is late 1800s, early 1900s, and she was a conductor herself, and had one opportunity as a woman to actually conduct a performance of her concert overture in D major. So this is, again, a woman composer to discover, as we are discovering so many of them these days. And then after that, after the break, then they'll do Sibelius' Second Symphony, which actually, we'll be doing Stenhammar's Second Symphony. I got that confused because Stenhammar apparently had a total artistic crisis after he heard Sibelius' Second Symphony, and this Stenhammar's second was sort of a result of what he came up with after he had gone through that crisis. So this is a heavy-duty Swedish evening, and Johannes Gustafsson is very much a dyed-in-the-wool Swedish conductor. He's conducted the Jönköping Symphony, and also he's been at the Warmland Opera and with the Oulu Symphony Orchestra in Finland. If you're looking for a Swedish experience, this will be it. Now, at the same time, well, then what is Ryan Bancroft up to if he's not at home conducting in Stockholm? And I'll tell you about that in a second. He's off to playing around with, playing orchestrally with Catherine Dane. The Royal Stockholm Phil's Ryan Bancroft joins the Tapiola Sinfonietta in Finland and the vibrant soprano Catherine Dane in a program of Schumann, and Sarajevo's 4 Moments of Song, Thursday, April 10th at 8 p.m. European time. The Schumann pieces are a Schumann Overture and Scherzo and Finale in E major, and then Symphony Number 1 in B-flat major, called the Spring Symphony. It's called that because Robert Schumann said, "I composed the work inspired by spring, A spring that comes to us as adults always is new and surprising. That's what he wrote. Now, what's interesting to me about this concert, other than the fact that Ryan Bancroft is a really good conductor, and the more we hear from and see live streams from the Tapiola Sinfonietta, the more we like them. The Tapiola Sinfonietta is located in a smaller town, which is part of the greater Helsinki area. So their audience includes, their in-person audience can include anybody coming from Helsinki, the big city, even though the little city they're in isn't that big. What's interesting to me is the soloist, Catherine Dane. She's a product of Harvard University, Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and the Man's College of Music. She's dual citizen, Dutch and American. And they're doing a piece by Kaija Saariaho, the Finnish composer, called For Instance. And she has recorded one of these instances already on one of her CDs, which have received rave reviews. And the four instances are four instances in love, set to poems by Amin Maalouf. And the first one is Longing, Attente. The second one is The Pain of Waiting, Douleur, in French. The titles are in French. I'll just give you the English translation. The third one is Parfum de l'instant, sense, the aroma of the moment. And the last one is Résonance, or that we say translate as memories, because an event resonates for you. She's a former artist in residence with the Tapiola Sinfonietta, so they know each other well. She has put out, she is collaborating with a lot of different orchestras and groups, with the Netherlands Chamber Orchestra, and also she's involved in singing Donna Anna and Mozart's Don Giovanni, Constanze in Die Entführung aus dem Serail, Fior di Ligi in Così fan tutte in the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Hungary, Ecuador. She's all over the place. And she's got the album where she played some Sarajevo. She played Parfum de l'instant, the sense, the aroma of the moment, is called Regard sur l'infini, a view of the infinite, with the pianist Sam Armstrong. It's got Messiaen, Debussy, Delbos, Dutilleux, and Saariaho. So I think it will be very interesting to hear her sing Saariaho's four songs. Also on Thursday, we have the first of two opera productions that I want to tell you about. Yes, not one, but we have two operas going on this week. Isn't that great? I think it is. And I'm only going to be able to tell you a certain amount about these operas. To really talk to you about an opera, I've got to talk to you some about the singers and all of that. And there's not time to do that in this weekly roundup. But later this week, before each of these operas goes up, I promise I will come up with a separate live stream to talk to possibly just about the two operas. But it's not possible to do that today. So I'll just tell you briefly what they're doing. Thursday, April 10th, check out Teatro Reggio's new production of Puccini's La Bohème by the winners of a European competition for creative artists under 35 years old. It's free of charge from Opera streaming, 8 in the evening, Parma, Italia time. That's right, they held a contest to see who was going to produce this new production of Puccini's La Bohème, and it was a contest specifically for artists and directors and things like that under the age of 35. So that will be this La Bohème if you want to check out and see what they consider the young'uns to be doing, because under 35 an opera is young. Then you want to check this out. Now, this is not the only one. I'll give you more of the details later, as I said. And it's free of charge. Opera streaming does these great streams by about a half a dozen different regional opera companies in Italy, free of charge on a regular basis. And these two are the last ones they're going to be doing till October. So if you want to enjoy some live opera for nothing, for free of charge, they don't even ask you to donate. They just put it out there on YouTube. Well, you don't want to miss these. What's the next one? Sunday, April 13th, opera streaming live streams free of charge, the customary 1-2 punch, Mascagni's Cavalleria Rusticana and Leoncalvo's Pagliacci from Teatro Galli at 3:30 in the afternoon in Rimini, Italia. And these two pieces are often done together because the Cavalleria, if you don't know them, the Cavalleria Rusticana is a one-act piece by Mascagni, and the Pagliacci is 2 acts. So you put them together and you have the equivalent of a 3-act opera. The Mascagni, to me, it has this amazing intermezzo, which was also adapted to an Ave Maria type song, which is, it's just, I don't know how anybody can listen to it without tearing up. It's la di da dum ba di 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 la da da dum ba di di la da da, and it goes on from there. It's just, I used it as a soundtrack when I did a production of Dr. Glass for 3 or 4 years in France and a couple of times up in Sweden as well. And it just, people just got all choked up by it. Anyway, so those are the 2 operas that you have. The one, and I've given you the times and the day for both of them, and I will give you more information about them later. I'll have to do that before, when is the first of them? The first of them, I think, is Thursday. So before Thursday, well, Wednesday, I've got to come up with something. Remind me if I forget. You can find us on 6 different platforms. Just leave me a note. Say, John, where is it? I'd be happy to hear from you. Okay. We now move on to Friday. And now we get into the hardcore weekend of symphonic presentations. The first of them is with this conductor, Saraste, and ARD Classic. ARD Classic expands its roster of German orchestra live streams with Jukka-Pekka Saraste conducting the Stuttgart Orchestra in symphonies by Haydn and Shostakovich this Friday, April 11th at 8 in the evening European time. I'm not familiar with the Stuttgart Orchestra, but most of these German orchestras are of good quality. ARD Classic is gathering together, there are at least a half a dozen different German symphony orchestras which are live streaming on a regular basis, and ARD is working on getting them all under the same umbrella. So this is another one added to that umbrella. They'll be doing Haydn's Symphony in F minor, La Passione, and Shostakovich's Symphony No. 4 in C minor, Opus 43, which is very popular these days. In the past couple months, there have been, I think, at least 2 other live streams of that. And that's something I want to comment on. There are these fads that happen when orchestras on different continents all start playing the same pieces. And I'm just wondering, who told them? How did this happen? Okay, so that one's in Germany. It's in Stuttgart. But that's not the only one. There will also be a live stream coming out of Italy this weekend, and I think that one's exciting because it's a couple of Spaniards working together, and they are both sort of passionate, committed artists. So I think there'll be fireworks. Top European conductor Orozco Estrada leads his Rise Symphony Orchestra through Mendelssohn's Third Symphony and Lalo's Spanish Symphony for violin and orchestra with the young and stellar violinist Maria Dueñas. Friday, April 10th at 8:30 in the evening European time. Orozco Estrada is Colombian, and since 23-24, he's been the principal conductor of the Rai Orchestra. And starting next year, he will be the general music director of the city of Cologne, and he will also be the Gürzenich Kapellmeister. Now, also going on at the same time is Christian Marcelu is leaving. I think he's leaving the Cologne Philharmonic because he's going next year to be the artistic director of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra, which is very exciting for the people in Cincinnati, I got to tell you. So this may be Orozco Estrada moving into the breach, but I'm not sure exactly how these different organizations interact in Germany. The Lalo Symphony, Spanish Symphony in D minor is Opus 21, composed in 1874, and the Mendelssohn Symphony Number 3 in A minor, Opus 56, is called the Scottish Symphony. Dueña is interesting. She's only 22 years old. She's Spanish, born in Granada. I think she spent a lot of time in LA because she's worked a lot with the LA Phil and Gustavo Dudamel, who has an eye for talent like nobody's business. And as part of that, she was part of the Hollywood Bowl's 100th anniversary concert. She did the world premiere of Gabriela Ortiz's violin concerto with concerts at Walt Disney Concert Hall, and then on tour in Barcelona, Paris, and London, with sold-out premieres at Carnegie Hall and in Boston. And she was part of the recording of it was part of the album Revolución Diamantina, which won 3 Grammy Awards in 2025, just this year. She's also a composer. She's only 22 years old. She recorded her debut album and then composed a piece for solo violin because she was so inspired by the album. And she also a solo piano piece and some cadenzas. So and she played in a film, the reincarnation of Kathleen Parlow, in the film Measures for a Funeral, in which she rediscovers a long-lost violin concerto by Johann Halvorsen. So she's touring around the rest of her season this year. She's with I think she already did it, a tour of Japan with the Deutscher Kammerphilharmonie, Bremen, and Parvo Järvi from Finland. She's at the Tanglewood Festival with Andres Nielsen, and recitals at Carnegie Hall, Pierre Boulez, Saal, Berlin, the Salzburg and Edinburgh festivals. I tell you all this why? Well, because she's only 22 years old, and that's a massive amount to be getting done as a 22-year-old. So you might really want to, if you're trying to figure out, I may end up doing one of these Friday live streams where I say, well, how do you figure out which of Friday night's live streams do you want to watch? That may be one of the reasons for watching that one. Now, I don't think we have anything for you on Saturday, which surprises me. There may be something on Stage Plus or with the Berlin Phil, which I haven't looked up, because those are paying sites, and I do try to focus for you on the free of charge live streams. That's the model that we prefer. So we move on to Sunday. How about a festive Sunday brunch concert with the Cologne Phil, hosting the German President's Benefit Concert under the deft baton of Christian Macellaro, playing Enescu, Ravel, Andre Previn, and Leonard Bernstein, Sunday, April 13th at 11 in the morning, European time. Yeah, this is the first time that they have had the honor of hosting this President's Benefit concert, which moves around to different orchestras, in a number of years. They'll be doing Enescu's Romanian Rhapsody No. 1 in A major, Ravel's Scheherazade for voice and orchestra, Korngold's Concerto in C major for cello and orchestra, Andre Previn's Vocalise for soprano, cello, and orchestra, and Bernstein's Symphonic Dances from West Side Story. There's some uncertainty about who the soprano is going to be, but the latest word seems to be it's Hanna Elisabeth Müller, and the cellist will be Maximilian Horn, with Christian Macellaro conducting. And as I mentioned earlier in today's live stream, he is leaving for Cincinnati, so he's moving into sort of farewell territory with these concerts, although he'll probably remain, in touch with and do some conducting with them anyway. The interesting thing is, this is another one of these things where now everybody's playing Scheherazade. Sunday, the Scottsdale Philharmonic, of all places, were playing Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade. And a week before that, there was another orchestra playing, it was the Tomsk Philharmonic playing Ravel's Scheherazade and Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade. So suddenly now that's Scheherazade in Arizona, in Tomsk, Siberia, and in Cologne, all within 2 weeks' time. Okay, I don't get it, but it happens. So so I guess that's interesting. Could be interesting to some people, I don't know. And once again, we're having interruptions in the signal, and I do not understand why. And hopefully the interruptions are only on my screen and not on yours. Now, we're moving down right onto the finish line here. I think we only have 2 more live streams to tell you about. These are all on Sunday. The Tomsk Philharmonic continues its journey through the music of Rachmaninoff this Sunday, April 13th, with his Piano Concerto No. 2, played by Philip Kopachevsky at 6 p.m. Siberian time, which is noon in Europe, which will be way too early for those of you in the U.S. It'll be 6 in the morning on the East Coast. But if you're up late Saturday night, 3 o'clock in the evening, it'll be a lovely 10 o'clock in the evening, Sunday evening in Australia. This is the usual conductor of the Tomsk Phil, Igor Berendeyev, so I'm not going to recite all his details again. Kopachevsky is 34 years old, came out of the Moscow Tchaikovsky Conservatory in 2013. He has his own page on the Mariinsky Theater website, which is usually a sign of being established and accepted in Russia. He's won, they tell us he's won 8 international piano competitions, including the Franz Schubert piano competition in Germany. He has done a lot of touring. He's played with all the top Russian orchestras, Mariinsky, Svetlanov, Moscow Phil, St. Petersburg Symphony, but he's also played with the Warsaw Symphony and with Milan's Giuseppe Verdi Orchestra, in Parma, also the Orchestra Nationale of Ile-de-France, etc. So, and he's got 5 albums out already. So he'll be playing Rachmaninoff's Concerto for Piano and Orchestra No. 2, Opus 18, and then they will play Prokofiev's Symphony No. 5, Opus 100. And last Sunday, they also had a Rachmaninoff program with the Tomsk Phil, so they are really into that. That 5th Symphony by Prokofiev is the one they call A Hymn to a Free and Happy Man, to his mighty forces, to his pure and noble spirit, composed in 1944. So go figure. Next up, we have the Mariinsky Theater is putting on a gala, which I just want to tell you about for a moment. Their galas are something else. You never know where they're going to bring in a troupe of dancers, because they have a ballet troupe, they have opera singers, they've got everything at Mariinsky. And this one is promised to be, and I'm sure it will turn out to be what it's promised, a gala concert concluding about a 10-day festival for flute and harps and lyres. So with 1, 2, 3, 4 regular flautist plus a piccolo flautist, and with 1, 2, 3 harpists, and also something called the wheeled lyre. So, and it's a gala, so you can expect this to be like a rousing good time. It is what they like to do at Mariinsky. And then last but not least? I don't know. Yeah, it is. This is the last musical chairs phenomenon I wanted to tell you about. We are just about closing now. We had, 11 different live streams to tell you about. A dream comes true for the distinguished Scottish conductor whose career has been international, and you can share it when he leads the Detroit Symphony through Bruckner's massive 8th Symphony, live stream free of charge at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. This is the Detroit Symphony, which is a fine symphony. But Yader Bignamini, their artistic director, he's not around. Why not? This is a conductor exchange. Sir Donald Runnicles is the Scottish conductor I was referring to in the introduction. He is also the artistic director of the Deutsche Oper Berlin, the Berlin Opera House. And while he's in Detroit, Detroit's artistic director Yader Bignamini is working with the Deutsche Oper Berlin, because he's leading a concert there on April 17th, next week, which with their orchestra and their big band, and it's an American Broadway thing. So Bernstein, Gershwin, Cole Porter, etc. That won't be live streamed. Anyway, Runnicles is known, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, as a Scottish name. He's known for, among other things, his work with Bruckner. I don't know why the Detroit Symphony tells us he dreamed of conducting it at Detroit's Orchestra Hall, but I believe them when they say that he did so. And he's been he's a former music director of the San Francisco Opera from 1992 to 2008. That's a long time. That's what, 26 years. And he's I mean, that and the Deutsche Oper Berlin is enough to tell you. But he's got an extensive discography as well. I think he'll do a great job conducting Bruckner, something so massive, which is modeled after Beethoven's Ninth. So there's a lot of there's everything in that orchestra, and you have a very operatic conductor who I think is really going to enjoy. If this is on his bucket list, he's going to give his all, and so it should be a rousing performance. And that's it. The Bruckner Eighth is so big that that's all you can get done in a regular time slot at a concert. Folks, that's what we have for you this week. I hope that one, more, some, or any of these live streams appeals to you, uplifts you, inspires you, envelops you in a moment of truth and beauty. You never know when that's going to happen when you're enjoying this kind of work. And I can tell you, it is the goal of the creative artist to do that in the moment, live, sharing it with you and the other people in the in-person and remote live audiences. There's no way to compare that to looking at a recording. Just no way. And I will remind you in closing, if you're watching this on Facebook, click the like the video button. If you're watching on YouTube, please click subscribe. And also, please like and or subscribe and follow us instead on X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And in return, we promise we are going to continue giving you the live links to more than 1,000 live performances online in 2025. We are well on the way to doing so already. Ciao for now. I will be back tomorrow with 2 live streams, one for this week's organ recitals and another one for this week's chamber music and smaller sized performances going on around the world.